I'm kind of at a point where I've like let go of kind of what I wanted to happen. Can everyone see our matching rings?
Oh my gosh. If I'm ever like a little bit too bloated, I can't wear this ring.
Dude, sometimes my fingers will swell and I can't wear it on this finger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but everyone, today on the podcast, we have Miss Diane.
Hello.
You guys know her from a few of our past episodes. We talked a little bit about breakups. How to heal from your first breakup.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
That was a long time ago, yeah?
Also, I realized I guess I was technically on 3 episodes then. Because breakup part 1, part 2. And then confidence.
Yeah. And so we have you on for a 4th because you're my biffle and we got rings to prove it.
We're married, basically.
No, honestly.
I'm sorry to all Hannah's future.
No. Don't forget to check out our Women's History Month collection on Apple Podcasts. You guys can go to the Apple Podcasts app, go to the Browse tab, and we will be under the A New Era category. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review, and then also like actually write out a review, please. I think our last one was like a year ago, and that is too far away.
That is kind of a long time. Come on.
Yeah,
give us some love.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess just to start things off, how you been, girly? What's been up? What's the happenings?
I've been good. I feel like there's been a lot of changes since I've last been on the pod. But yeah, I've gone through like a career change.
How was that?
A lot of highs and lows. Okay. I feel like I'm still like kind of going through the motions, but I've kind of like learned to detach a little bit.
Ooh. Okay, that's interesting.
That's helped me a lot because I feel like I was like really stressed out for a long time, but I recently pivoted. I've always wanted to do music. I think you guys have all known this because I've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
But I was working on like all these different industries, and then I finally came to this realization that I wanted to try to pursue it.
Right.
Not as an artist, but like I was curious about working in the industry, so I kind of was like, oh, why don't I try to like, I quit my job basically, and I was like, okay, let me try to like work in the music industry in whatever capacity. But yeah, it was very stressful, and like I'm kind of at a point where I've like let go of kind of what I wanted to happen, which was to kind of like find a job in the music industry. And I think like incorporating this like detachment mindset, I don't know if it's a mindset, but like just practicing it has really helped me, because I think now I'm at a point where I'm like kind of questioning why I even wanted to
like go into the industry.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I have like this passion for music and I like want to pursue it as an artist to a certain degree, but I think I kind of like confused the two, or not confused the two. They're just like different, like working in the industry
versus being an artist in the industry.
But I guess I'm now at a point where I'm kind of like, so when I talk about like detachment, for me, I think the most stressful part about it was like I'm also realizing that I'm like pretty goal oriented, and like I'm very focused on getting to a goal, and I usually can get there, but I think that like I just get really consumed on getting there, so I like can't really see what I have, and I get super stressed out. And so I think like with the whole detachment thing, I was like super consumed, or I set a goal. I wanted to find a job in the music industry. Like my goal is to find a job by the end of the year, and I was just like really hell-bent on like trying to find this job
by the end of the year too.
Yeah. And then I don't know, like the thing I guess like something that I've also learned about the music industry is that it's very like unpredictable.
Yeah,
it's very unpredictable. Like it's really based on connections, and like, and I guess like this is kind of like everyone knows that it's like based on connections, very competitive,
right?
And so that I think like because of all those factors, it almost makes sense that it was gonna take longer,
right? Like I think it's one of those industries where like having a goal is good, yes, but timeline wise, like you can't predict how long it's going to take you to actually get there, because right, people spend like years, like people will take internships like when you're quote not supposed to be you're too old to be taking an internship, because right, it's an industry where like everyone wants to be.
Yeah, especially in LA. Yeah. And so like the reason why I bring this up is because like I was like so hell-bent on like trying to find this job and putting so much pressure on myself.
I remember.
And like I was just so stressed out, right? And like I would get like interviews, but I'd like basically sabotage myself because I was like so like, oh, I need this. Oh, like, you know, that kind of mindset of like, oh,
like scarcity mindset.
Yeah, like I need this, blah blah blah. And I kind of just like was too obsessed, or not too obsessed, but like just like I just like wanted it too bad almost. Yeah. And I think this is where detachment is important, because like I think when you want something, I mean, this is not always the case, because I feel like for some people, if they really want something, it just like translates better, like, because I feel like mine was like almost like desperation. Okay. And it just like wasn't, I don't know how it came across in interviews, but I think I would like sabotage myself in my interviews, and like here I am, okay, not working in the industry.
Right, because I think like as like a friend, I saw you like give 100% of your effort, and like I think it's easy to like be like, oh, like I gave up, or like have like kind of like a negative mindset towards like your actions, but I think you gave it a try and then realized that like it wasn't necessarily like what you needed in the moment. And so in terms of like the detachment stuff, were you letting the career and like work part of things, like not necessarily working out, affect other parts of your life? Like did it color your entire like mood and stuff?
Yeah, it for sure did. I think that's like something that I definitely want to work, or I am working on, is like compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm.
Compartmentalizing. I can't speak today. I mean, I think it's like trying to, like, just because like one part of my life isn't working out doesn't mean my life is terrible, you know. But like I feel like that's like a lot of the times like we can really get consumed in different parts of our lives, and it's so easy to just be like, oh my god, like my life sucks because my work stuff is not going like the way that I wanted it to, or like I don't know, maybe your relation, I mean, but like it's so much easier to say. But I think like once I kind of like let go of the fact that like maybe it's gonna take me more time, kind of just like chill out a little bit, because I think I was just like for so long I was just kind of like let's go, like do whatever it takes, like do everything and anything, overwork myself, and just like let's fucking go, whatever, just to meet this like deadline that I had for myself. I think like I'm finally at a point where I'm just like, you know what's meant for me will not pass me, kind of thing. And like I think even working for those past like 5 months made me realize certain things that I value in my life that maybe that wouldn't be a good fit anyways in the end. And I honestly truly believe that like I want to be a musician, like such artist, and so I think like in the end like it wasn't even a match. I'm not gonna write it off completely, because like if an opportunity comes, like I'll take it, but I think like in that time I kind of like reflected on a lot of those things, and I've kind of again come to this point where I've like detached myself from the outcome a bit, because I think I was just like so focused on that.
And so I guess in terms of like process, like what has your process been in like detaching yourself from like the negative parts of your life?
I think for me it's really come down to like managing expectations. I feel like I'm kind of like not notorious, but like in my head,
she's notorious.
Or I've always like struggled with like managing expectations with people, for myself.
I didn't know this.
Just life in general.
Okay.
I'm always just like, I get excited. When I get excited, I'm always like, oh, I like have this like idea of what things could be with people, like, you know, relationships, or like even jobs, or like different jobs, anything that I have like any interest in. I just kind of like get really excited and I start like imagining all these things, and I think I've kind of like stop doing that?
Actually, yeah, I think I noticed that a few months ago. I think we were going on a trip.
Yeah.
And I was asking you prior, like, oh, how are you feeling about it? And you're like, oh, no expectations, no expectations.
Yeah, I kind of just be like, no, like Hannah will ask me, like, how do you feel? And I usually say, no feelings. No feelings.
Yeah, that's super accurate.
I've really kind of like learned how to like not build scenarios in my head. Or like even think about certain outcomes, because I feel like once I start doing that, then I kind of like I almost like attach myself to that.
Yeah, because I think like, right, our brains don't know what is reality and what isn't, and so like the thoughts that we have will impact the way that we like perceive different situations in our lives. And so when it comes to having certain expectations or like being attached to like a certain outcome, right, that ties back to like the goal setting and like being so like hell-bent on a certain thing by a certain time that it like consumes us, and so we don't even like look at the decisions that we're making carefully.
Yeah, or like even with people, like I feel like it's so easy to expect certain things from people that you love, and like I'm sure this applies to relationships too, but then I've kind of like learned to stop expecting from people, if that makes sense. I just kind of like I used to be so like, oh, I like for example, let's say like a friend flakes on you. I used to hate when people like flaked, and
right.
like it's still kind of like a pet peeve.
You're like, I'm taking this personally.
But like I think I've really learned to just like let some of the, I think that comes from the detachment from like two people, right? Like,
and detachment from like the expectation of them too.
or like even like events happening, or like if they flake, it's like, oh well. Like,
right.
Whereas I used to kind of just be like, oh my god, I can't believe they like flaked on me, blah blah blah.
Interesting.
And so I think like I'm not as affected by like external things,
right? Like it makes you like a little bit more stable because you're not letting this outside thing like impact your day.
I mean, obviously like there are times, but I think it's more of like, and if I do feel something, it's like, oh, I was like really looking forward to like spending time with them, and then I'll like vocalize that, and then you know, next time, whatever. It takes time though. Yeah,
and I think there's a balance between like validating your own emotions and being like, oh no, like I'm upset because this person flaked and I was looking forward to it, versus like reading so much into it and like putting so much like weight on a person flaking. And like, you know, I noticed too, like even with me, I think in terms of like detaching, like a big part of that has been like with people that I'm dating or like going on dates with. Yeah. Because I noticed that like when I am like so like honed in on like, let's say one person, and like they aren't texting me back, it will affect and impact my entire day, and I hate it. Like this guy that I met maybe twice like didn't text me back, and like I'm having a shitty day because of it. Like that's fucking crazy. Yeah. And so I guess like are you like dating? Like do you apply the detachment to dating, or like what's going on?
So dating. Yeah. Dating. Okay, let me answer your first question. I am open to dating. I'm like kind of on an app, but I'm not really on it. I feel like I always like dip my feet, but I'm never fully like, yeah, I'm dating. Right. Because it's just like every time I start I start to be on an app, it's just so much easier to just like delete it and like not have to like deal with it. So okay, I can't say this is 100% true, because I feel like I would still care if I was really interested in someone and like they didn't text me back for X amount of days. Like I can understand why you feel that way. I didn't mention the amount of days, but okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, anyways, I think like for me, like I don't know, these people are all strangers, right? And so I think that helps me in terms of detachment. It's kind of just like I don't know you, you don't know me. We just all have access to each other for some reason, right? Or not for some reason. Well, because we're all looking to date. But like that helps me a lot, because I'm just like, at the end of the day, like why do I have to text a stranger? Whoa, kind of thing. That's so
have a completely different viewpoint.
Really?
I like see everyone on the app as like an actual person. And so I feel really guilty even if
you don't text back.
if I don't like respond, even if they're a stranger, even if we haven't met.
That must be really hard. You're such a good person.
I don't know. I think I just see like too much humanity, or maybe it's that I'm attaching the the potential scenarios,
because
like,
even the profiles I feel like are so like, even my profile, you know, like it's just like made up versions of yourself almost, not completely.
Are you calling me fake?
No, but like I feel like most all profiles, like you don't, like you look at the profile and you can't, like I don't know if you can really
gauge
anything. And I think even if it's a good profile, like,
right,
you know what I mean, like it's you don't know this person, like they could be a shitty person, like you just don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think like recently actually I was like gonna go on a date with this guy, but then he ended up just like ghosting me. And like I was disappointed because I was looking forward to kind of like meeting him,
right?
But at the end of the day, you know, again, we're just strangers on the internet. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And it's just like
he doesn't owe you anything. You don't owe him anything.
But like not even that, because that part kind of like, you know, you would like in an ideal world, like you would want like the other person to like at least tell you, you know,
like, hey, I'm busy. Sorry.
Yeah, or like, oh, I can't make it, whatever. But I think like that's the thing. It's like expectations for other people. Like I feel like I used to be really like upset. You know, if that would have happened to me like a few years ago, I probably would have been like, oh my god, I can't believe he flaked on me. Oh, like, you know, like that's so fucking shitty. Like how, like he can't even have like respect for me, blah blah blah. But again, it's like you don't know at the end of the day, strangers on the internet.
Yeah,
planning to meet up. Because
for me, like I think if I were put in your situation, which I have been, right? Like I've been stood up and whatever, but I always come back to like human decency. Like I'm like, that is very basic etiquette,
I know.
You know what I mean?
And but so you're like, and
so like I would get upset. Yeah, you know what I mean? But then because there's nothing I could do about it and like it's out of my control, I think that's where I'm just like, fucking let it go. Like I'm not gonna let this impact my day. But then also I think like parts of me have like hardened, and like I've built a wall where like I always expect the person to flake until I literally see their face.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Is this from like learned experience?
Yeah. Like I think like even on my drive there, I've had times where like I've like texted my friends and been like, I think this guy's gonna bail. Like I literally think he's gonna bail, and then like miraculously I'm like, oh, he didn't bail, but he like also didn't message me. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I think like in those ways, like dating has made me like a little pessimistic.
Yeah, I feel like that's just like the general consensus lately.
Yeah,
for a lot of people. And then also like another way that I like I've kind of detached, or that's really helped me like detach from dating, is like I just like won't talk about these guys with my friends. I won't tell names. I won't send profiles.
Dude, here I am literally being like, send me a photo right now. Can you screen record? And then I'll be like, what's his name? And
yeah, like,
what did you talk about? Like I'm asking you so much information.
Yeah, and like I'm usually reluctant. If they ask if like my friends are persistent and I'm about to go on a date with them, then like yes, because like for safety reasons, right? You know. And then also Hannah one time was like, I just like want to make sure we're not matching with the same people, which is actually one of my like worst nightmares, is like matching with the same people as my friends. This is yet to happen, but knock on wood. But I think that's really helped me. Like I don't know, because like I feel like when you tell your friends, sometimes it's kind of like it almost makes it more real, and you're like putting more energy towards it. Yeah. And so then like if you get that validation from your friends, like, oh my god, he's so cute, like blah blah blah,
there's more pressure.
Yeah. And then like if it doesn't work out, I feel like it's more leads to more disappointment, because you have to share the news, right?
Exactly.
And so that's kind of how, like, I don't know, maybe it's a little extreme, like maybe it's not that serious,
no,
but like that's just kind of how I see it. Yeah,
that's interesting, because like I never used to be on that side. Like I would always text every one of the group chats being like, here's the screen recording, I'm going with this person on this day, he planned it or whatever. And I would give them every single detail, but then I think I like came to the conclusion after so many times of like having to like quote like disappoint my friends by like saying like, oh that's over, like, oh that's done,
Yeah,
that like maybe I shouldn't be sharing everything.
Yeah.
And so I've become a little bit more private.
yeah, but like I love that like Hannah's very like respectful because like she won't ever, like she won't pry. I'm not trying to be secretive because like I'll tell Hannah everything. I'll tell like my close friends like if I'm about to go on a date, whatever, but like Hannah's usually like goes along with me, and so I really appreciate that.
Oh yay. Okay, I'm glad I don't pry, because I'm always like, give me an example. Like,
Well, like I don't even think it's prying though, because like we're very close, so
right.
but then like I also am like not, I don't like, I feel like dating is obviously like the small talk conversation, and like that's kind of like, I hate talking about dating with people that I don't know that well, and so like when people kind of use it as a way to like get to know me, like that's not the way because I won't say anything. Not that I have much going on, but like I just don't like, I don't know, I don't really like bond. I know a lot of girls like bond over like like boy talk or like girl talk and talking about boys and stuff, but like I like, not that I have no interest, but like I just like don't like to use that as like a connection thing.
Whoa, okay, we're complete opposites in that way, because I think like once I know about somebody's like dating life or history or like whatever's going on, I like automatically feel closer to them.
Oh, and I think maybe a lot of people think that way then.
Yeah, like I almost use it as like a shortcut to get to know somebody.
Oh,
You know what? Or like to fast track the intimacy of our like friendship.
oh.
You know what I mean?
But is that true? Like is that really like you feel a lot closer to them if you know their dating life?
Yeah, and also maybe it's just like I like a little drama. Like I like a little tea. Like there's always like a little bit of something, you know?
In our 20s especially.
Yeah, exactly. But I think in ways like I feel a little bit closer to them. Like I think even when our friendship had first started like developing, like shortly after we had hung out like a couple of times, I think you were going through your breakup.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of the closeness maybe came from that time, because it was like, oh shit, she's being so fucking vulnerable with me.
But you know what's crazy? Like I feel like that was like the most, well obviously because we didn't know each other, but that was like the most shallow part of our relationship, right?
Yeah, that is true.
And so like even if you did know that like really vulnerable side of me, like I don't know if I really thought of it as like, oh, Hannah's like really getting to know me, or like I feel so close to Hannah because she knows this.
Oh, interesting.
I think it was just like my way of sharing like what was happening in my life.
Right.
But I didn't feel like I didn't feel like this like crazy amount of closeness to you just because I was sharing that information. And so I think that just applies to like in any social situation where like someone asks me about my dating life. It like almost irks me because like I'm just like, dude, like there's so many things you can ask me, but you're gonna ask me about my dating life. But I feel like it's just like something that people do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the how are you doing?
Right.
When people ask you that,
easy.
you know?
Yeah. So I guess my question for you is like, what would you rather be asked about?
I'm not sure. So I can't do it.
Bruh.
I don't know, like I also love small talk. Like I like, but like not dating small talk. Like
okay.
Like I feel like questions like, oh, what did you eat this morning?
Oh, okay.
Or like what, like I feel like I love those. Like some people might think that's like those are like dumb questions to ask, but I love like stuff like that because I feel like you can really get to know somebody
by what they ate that morning,
basically. Like if they're like a morning person, if they don't eat breakfast,
or
like, you know, or if they love breakfast, I don't know, it doesn't say that much, but I feel like it adds to a picture of someone. That's how I see it, because I love breakfast and like I'm really passionate about like
you are passionate about breakfast,
and like I'm like a morning, like coffee in the morning right away type of person.
Otherwise she gets real angry real fast.
I get so annoyed and like dramatic about it, but that's like the only thing that I will be dramatic about,
right?
But like actually I feel like I'm dramatic in general.
No, but like that's one of the that's the first thing that you're dramatic about.
I'm like really like, I think like I feel like if I don't have my coffee in the morning, there's a reason for me to get angry.
Oh,
it's like almost like a reason for me to be like, oh, like, you know,
I don't have my coffee, like, or I don't have caffeine in my system.
like I need it right now. But anyways, I think like you can even ask me about the weather, like and I'll be so happy to.
She's so passionate about that. She told us at the beginning of this podcast that it's raining tomorrow.
Yeah, like I love to talk about like dumb shit, basically.
Now I'm like backtracking into a lot of our conversation. I'm like, yeah, you do ask about all those like smaller details.
Like I ask like the most like I can ask a question basically about anything.
Yeah,
like I will always have something to ask you. But then I don't know, maybe it's just like, I'd rather just talk about those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
For some reason.
Okay, I understand you a bit more. I didn't know. I see. We're constantly just like learning about each other. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this about you.
But also maybe it's like maybe it has to do with like projection a little bit about like, maybe because like I don't have that much going on in my dating life.
Oh.
So then every time people ask me, I feel like I have to like, you know, there's like not an expectation, but like I feel like a pressure almost to like have some, like, I don't know, like I think like I'm very okay with being single and I like love it and I'm very comfortable, and I've been single for like 4 going on 4 years now. But I think like obviously as you grow older and then like all of my friends are dating and like, you know, people love to talk about dating. It's like just, you know, it's just what we do when we're young. And it's like there's nothing wrong with that, but I think because I'm not participating completely, like it's almost like, damn, do I have to be like, you know, like do I have to?
So do you feel like guilty that you're not in a way?
Yeah, almost like, oh, maybe I should then, or like just like this pressure that I have to.
Right.
I mean, I don't have to do anything.
You don't.
And like I think that's the thing is like I kind of just like when I'm asked the question or people ask me what's going on, I'm just kind of like, it's dry, and it's like a reminder almost.
It's a reminder that it's dry.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit.
Can we move on to a different topic?
Wait, so do you think like parts of you are avoiding it?
That's another thing. I feel like so I'm a very naturally, like, not naturally, I don't know if it's natural, but like I'm very avoidant. And so
you do.
I think, sometimes I think about, when we're talking about detachment, I feel like detachment kind of like enhances being avoidant sometimes though.
Yeah, it's like taken to an extreme.
Yeah. Like I think with like people, at least, like sometimes, I don't actually, like, let me rephrase this, but like I guess like detachment from people, like sometimes I'll like automatically be like, oh, it's fine, like I didn't, like I'll use detachment as a mask for my feelings.
Right.
And then
so you're like avoiding the feeling of being upset.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know.
That's crazy,
so
dude.
there's like pros and cons.
Yeah. Like
if you're avoidant, I don't know if I recommend it.
I don't know
like,
I mean, I think it's good to separate yourself and like not let like one bad thing, let's say, that happened in your day affect the rest of your day. Yeah. But at the same time, like I think the more and more you like push away those feelings, like the harder and stronger they come back.
Yeah, I'm also very like can be very explosive. And so like I think, I don't know, is detachment a good thing? I mean, overall I feel like it's brought more like peace.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you feel like more like in the flow of things? Yeah,
I think like it's brought me more peace, but I think it can get dangerous sometimes because like that's the thing, is like I feel like I'm always like trying to figure out a balance of like having goals, being determined to like get to where I want to be.
Yeah, like good work ethic, all that stuff. Yeah.
Versus like, oh yeah, you know what? Whatever's meant to be is gonna happen, you know? Like that's like a very like passive way of thinking sometimes. And so I think like sometimes I'll just like use that as a crutch almost and kind of just like let myself go a little bit. I don't know if I do that completely, but like, yeah, I think like there has to be a balance.
Do you think like being passive is a bad thing?
I don't want to be passive. Okay. Like I want to feel like I have control of my life, but I guess that's the thing. It's like a control thing in the end. Because I don't have control over my life, but I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can in my own power, right, to get to where I want to be.
Right.
And so I think like sometimes with the detachment stuff, you know, you can just be like, yeah, like whatever's meant for me is for me, and like you can just like dilly dally or whatever,
right?
And like, I mean, I'm sure like by luck or faith or whatever, you can believe that and like things will happen for you. But then I just like feel like I want to be proactive about it still.
Yeah,
you can say what's meant for me will be for me, but like that doesn't mean you're not doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I think for me in terms of control, like I'm the same exact way. I would rather be active in like trying to control my life than passive. But like the more that like I hear you talk about it, right? Like I think like when I'm going through it, because I'm the one going through it, I don't realize it.
Yeah.
But like with this like kind of like third person perspective, it's like even if you are taking the quote passive approach, I still don't think you have control.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like no matter what, I don't think we have any control over our lives, and we're just like trying to get by.
That's true.
The best we can. You know? And so like yeah, I mean when it comes to detachment too, it's just, and like maybe you're avoiding the dating stuff, but like right, I'm the other extreme of it, where like I'm holding on to the control of like finding a partner. That like right, any good thing taken to an extreme can be a bad thing. And like I've found myself like in the past like 5 months like being at the extreme of like going on dates, like trying to find a partner, to the point where like I'm like so not detached.
Oh, because you're focused on the
end goal. I'm like, okay, let me find the perfect person. Like let me find whatever the fuck my non-negotiables are, which like at this point I don't fucking know what's going on. So
I see.
So
it's hard.
It is.
Do you feel like you set a deadline for yourself, like for dating, or like to find a man?
I feel like my deadline was like sometime last year. I didn't like really, you know, I don't really set goals.
You just really wanted to find somebody.
But I think like, right, I've been like, oh, maybe I want to move. Like I just like don't want anything to tie me down. And it's kind of like I've finally accepted like, oh, I shouldn't want to be dating if I want like other things in my life right now. Like I just like have started to like reprioritize, which I never like realized how much like time and energy and like mental space I had been giving to boys in my life. And like, okay, like, right, it's 2023. When I look back at 2022, in hindsight, I honestly regret wasting my time going on so many dates where I could have been investing that time like into my friendships. You know, because even a lot of like, I think the conversations that I have with my friends last year, it was about the dating. And like now I think about it, I'm like, holy shit, how many hours did I talk to my friends about these guys who are literally irrelevant in my life? And so I think this year has been a lot of like reprioritizing.
I love that. Because I feel like, yes, I am avoiding dating a little bit.
Right.
But I think most of my life, my priorities were never, well, until I was like in my past relationship, like my priorities were always like friendship. Like now it's like myself and like work. And so I think that's what I have a lot of like a hard time with, is like trying to find time to add that onto my list of things that I already have, that I want to do for myself, like and want to spend with my friends. And now I feel like I'm like prioritizing like family time too, so it's like it's just like so much.
It is a lot.
And like I think like with dating, it's just like I mean I just think like with everyone, like a lot of people are having a hard time like on the apps and stuff. So I'm just kind of like, why do I even like want to waste or why am I even like trying, or not why am I trying, but it's like, is it even worth the energy?
Right. Because in my head, it was kind of like, okay, let me weigh where I want to put my time and energy. And I was just, I last year when I was like going on all the dates, had come to the conclusion that it's like, I would rather be out there trying than not. And so I guess it's like kind of different viewpoints, but now like I've kind of come to the conclusion that like maybe I don't need to be trying as hard. Like maybe it's like just taking on more of that mindset of like manifestation and destiny, you know, of just being like, it's one person It could take one meeting and then you're done. You know what I mean? Like, why did I go on 21 dates last year?
You're like also really skilled. That's like like I don't think many people are like can do that.
But like, look at how hard I burnt myself out. Guys, you like, I feel like y'all know me by now, but like, just like you said that you can be explosive, it's funny because like I was talking to Ali and Joyce about this too. They're like, Hannah, you can like go for so much longer in terms of like making plans, going on dates, whatever, but then like when you burn out really hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm like literally at that point where I'm like extremely burnt out and I'm like still recovering. You know what I mean?
I think it applies to like all parts of our lives though.
Yeah. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, like work, even working out,
yeah,
meeting people, dating. It's crazy.
Yeah, I actually feel like yeah, when it comes to working out too, like there was in February I had gone to the gym like 7 days in a row and I don't do that.
Yeah,
you know, I usually take at least a day off, but then I noticed the next week like I only went to the gym like 3 days and I'm like, oh yeah, I burnt myself out a little bit.
I feel like that was happening with me too, because like I was doing jiu-jitsu, or I'm still doing jiu-jitsu, and I was working out, and then I feel like I'm starting to be on the cusp of like I'm like kind of scared because I've also started running recently, and like,
oh, she's not just running, she's running. She's like, I did 6.5 miles today. What the?
Okay, but like that's like the furthest I've ever ran, or the longest I've ever ran.
She's just running away.
No, but like, yeah, that's the thing is like once I get like really into something, I feel like I kind of like go.
Oh yeah.
Like I kind of like go like a little too far sometimes, and like push myself a little too much, and so then I like end up burning out. Like so for jiu-jitsu, like for the first 1.5 years,
yeah,
I think I'm like going on 2.5 now.
Oh shoot.
Or maybe the first year I was like so into it, but I was also working out like at the gym too, and so then like I think like I kind of like started traveling a lot last year, and so I kind of like fell off a little bit, but I think like I was like burning myself out because I was just like doing too much. But like now even with the running, I'm like, oh my god, like, and then I still want to like, because I just started doing jiu-jitsu again too, and so I'm kind of like, oh damn, like I feel like I'm gonna, like a burnout is coming soon.
Yeah, and so like I guess like because you're aware that the burnout is coming soon, like are you doing anything to prevent said burnout?
No, but that's the thing. But I think it's just like an anxiety thing. Oh, like sometimes I'll like feel like, I think I was telling Hannah earlier too, like, oh, like I started doing more like different jobs, I have like 2 new jobs right now, and I'm also like trying to work out and like run and like do jiu-jitsu and like hang out with my friends and paint and like
do other creative like it's just
and like do music, and it's just like, I don't know, I think I just get so excited about so many things that it can be overwhelming, and so then like I don't know if I will necessarily do anything, but I'll just like feel like anxious because I have like all these things that I like feel like I have to do because I like don't want to quit, or I started it and I don't want to like not do it.
Interesting.
And so it's just kind of like, I don't really know. I think that's just kind of how I am though, because when I've realized too, like I like it's hard for me to focus on one thing because I just like start to feel like a little suffocated.
I'm the same exact way, except take away the not wanting to quit. Because I think like in a way, like I'll just either procrastinate starting on something because I don't want to like add another thing onto my plate, or I like anticipate the overwhelmingness of it, or I will start the said hobby. Like I made like necklaces, like I baked like 2 cakes, like I was doing my own nails for a while, but like all those things have stopped, and so like I feel like I'm you in a sense of like I just quit the things because I will get overwhelmed. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still like learning how to manage all my interests.
Yeah.
I think like that, but yeah, at the end of the day, I just like want to make sure I do everything that I want to do. Or like I don't want to live a life where I'm like, oh, I wish I did that. And so usually when I have a thought, I'm very like, oh, I'm just gonna do it.
Like almost impulsive in a way?
Yeah, I'm very impulsive too in that sense. And then sometimes I don't realize the time commitment, and then I'm just like, oh, I bought all this stuff.
Like, I have to do it.
I don't want to quit. And so then I just like end up like having all these things. And then recently, I don't know, my friends will be like, Dan, you have so many hobbies. And then just like started to think like, yeah, I do. And so now I'm just like, maybe I just won't say anything to my friends.
Why?
Because it's just like such a like I don't know, it's like hard to keep up, you know? Even I can't keep up. So I'm just like, maybe I just
like, do you think it's like because like you're vocalizing it to like outside people?
Like it's like a little premature.
Like they are holding you to the standard of making sure that you will continue this hobby?
I feel like I just I don't like to say perceived because I don't know, but like sometimes I'm like could be perceived as like this chaotic person because I have like so
many things going on
and like things that I love, things that I do,
right?
And like I don't know, I'm not like really living my life like thinking about, or I mean to a certain degree I am, but like I think like I don't know, maybe some things I'll just keep to myself.
Yeah, and also I will say like with being like a multi-passionate person, I think there's like a lot of guilt because the world tells us that like you have to narrow down on one specific thing, you have to get good at one thing. And so like when you are like, you know, dividing your time between like however many hobbies, however many jobs you have, like people automatically are like, oh, okay, then she's probably not great at anything. It's like there's like a mediocrity to all the things. And so like I literally completely get you, because I think like me too, like people have always been like, oh, you need to like focus on one thing, and I can't.
And like I think I've just accepted it at this point. Like I think I will always have a lot going on. Like I think I will always have multiple things that I'm working on, and that multiple things I like love. Because like again, I try to do it with the music thing. I thought music was like, well, I mean, I still think that music is like where I want to be. Like I would love to be a full-time artist like eventually, but like I still think if I was a musician or an artist, like I think I would still have other things going on.
Oh, for sure.
But for so long I was like, I need to commit to something. I need to commit to one thing. Blah blah blah. But I think I am a committed person. I just don't commit to one thing. Like I'll commit to a bunch of things, which is like hard though, because then like again then it comes down to like burning myself out and like prioritizing and like all these other life skills that I mean I haven't fully developed yet. So that's where it's hard. But I don't ever imagine myself doing one thing forever.
Right. And then also like I think when you're a creative person, your other creative ventures always inform each other, and so like limiting yourself to one medium like may not be the answer. And then also like I think talking about detachment,
I was just gonna say, right, like, that's kind of how like I detach myself from like a lot of things. Is I'm just kind of like, you know, if this doesn't work out, I have this or I have that. Right. If I don't have, you know, like if this friendship or this person is not giving you what you want or what you need, it's like, it's not like that's the only person that you have.
Exactly.
You have so many other like people that you love are there for you too. Right. So I think that just like is a part of.
Yeah. It's almost in a way like giving yourself options.
Yeah. Safety net almost.
Yeah. I am the exact same way. Like truly. Crazy.
High five.
Love that. Everything circles back.
It does. Detachment.
I hope your journey of detachment is like nice and smooth, but if it's not, then we're not going to hold you to that.
You know, I will say highs and lows, man.
Yeah.
I think I'm at a high at the moment.
Let's go.
It will happen.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think ultimately it has to do with like faith in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and like the confidence. But like, again, that comes with time and like.
Yeah, and there's no rush.
Yeah, I think like in the end, and then, sorry, I will say one more thing. Like, I think we use a lot of, like, we use measurements. We think about measurements a lot in our life. And I think like, I'm also trying not to do that. Like, trying not to measure like how long I've been unemployed technically, or I haven't been working in a corporate office or whatever, or how long I've been trying to find a job, you know, or like how old I am, you know, and like the age that I'm turning, or like,
like so where my other friends are and like ranking it.
Yeah, like I feel like the numbers really kind of like mess with your head. It's obviously like this is all easier said than done.
Oh yeah.
But I think I'm just like, that's just kind of how I'm like trying to practice.
Hey, maybe I think I'll join you on this journey. But thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, and you guys can find Diane on, can you plug all of them? Because I'm like,
no, you don't have to follow me. Don't follow me.
Okay, we're going to have them in the show notes below. Make sure to check those out. And then you also check out in our show notes below all of the links to the Women's History Month 2022 Apple Podcasts collection stuff. And don't forget to leave that review.
Please leave a review.
Yeah, on Apple Podcasts.
You can literally just be like, oh my God, Hannah is so cute.
Yeah, or like, oh my gosh, I loved this conversation so much. It really impacted the way that I view female friendships, and I'm so happy to be celebrating Apple Podcasts 2023 Women's History Month with y'all.
Or it could be like, this is the best podcast ever.
Oh yeah, that's
5 stars.
5 stars. Ding. Okay. Well, you guys can find us on Instagram and TikTok at bulgogi.pod. I almost said Apple Podcasts. Yeah, you guys can find us on Instagram and TikTok at bulgogi.podcast, Twitter at bulgogi podcast, youtube.com/bulgogi podcast, or maybe bulgogi pod. I don't know. Try both. And then me on all platforms at HANAKATTT. And that's it for today.
Bye.
We will catch you next week.